everyone. Pastor Jonathan here. It's good to see you for this week's edition of the Weekend Wrap-Up, and I'm with Pastor Will. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good. Well, we want to take a few moments to reflect on this Sunday's message from Pastor Chris, and we want to start by asking you a question. And we're wondering, has there been a time in your life where you were going through difficult circumstances, and in the middle of it all, you're just wondering, God, where are you in this? This doesn't make any sense to me. Are you really at work in my life? Where are you? And if you've ever been in that situation, we'd love for you just to comment, say, I can relate to that situation, or hit the like button. Let us know some way that you can relate to being in a situation that was difficult to understand or see God's hand at work. And so Sunday's message was from Luke chapter 24, and it was the disciples who were walking with Jesus on the road to Emmaus, and they didn't realize, they weren't even aware that it was Jesus that was talking to him. But I wonder if anything in particular stood out to you on Sunday's message from Pastor Chris.
So I just think that I'm kind of one of those people that can definitely say I've been there, done that. To have a situation recently in the past few years. Many of you know that this whole journey coming to First Middleburg started with me believing that God had called me to plant a church. And so I had started that process. My last church, Faith Baptist in Mandarin, was supportive of that and praying me through it and sent me to assessment and got to assessment. And then all of a sudden at the end of it, they just said, hey, we believe God's called you to serve him. We believe God may be leading you in the direction of church planting, but we just need you to hit the pause button. Mm-hmm. And we just need you to take some time and really work on some things personally with your emotions and your mental health and things of that nature. Because what they said was, if you go into church planning, there's a lot of pressure, and oftentimes that pressure will cause whatever's inside of you to squeeze out. And so they wanted me to deal with some of that frustration and anxiety and things of that nature. And so that kind of sent me in a tailspin,
right?
Because it's like, God, you've led me down this path, you've sent me in this direction, and now all of a sudden you're telling me to pause. Right. Well, my other church is getting ready for me to walk out the door.
Right. Right.
What are you doing, Lord?
Yeah, it's like you're going in a certain direction. All of a sudden, you never see this brick wall coming, or what appears to be a brick wall.
Right.
Anyway, where God's redirecting you, and you don't know exactly what he's doing, but you're having to trust him in it.
Right.
Yeah, that's difficult to do.
And so to see that and to at the time think like, okay, God, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. But now, a few years later, realizing God had a plan, I did need to work through some things, and that was very beneficial and very helpful for me personally and spiritually.
Right.
But then it also led me here, and really just to be able to connect with Pastor's third point where he said you don't have to walk alone. God has given you a family, and just the relationships that I've built with the pastors and the staff here at First Middleburg has just been incredible for me personally as well. And
so important.
Just praising the Lord for, God, thank you for what you've done.
Yeah.
Even though at the moment, back then, it was like, God, what are you doing? Where are you? Why have you done this?
Right. So I think that's a really good example. And one of the things that stood out to me yesterday that he said was that he had a quote from John Piper that basically went, God may be doing a million things in your life, but you might only be aware of one of them, if that. And I thought that was a really good point. It's amazing how God is at work in our life so many times, and we don't even recognize it. And it's like these disciples who were walking with Jesus down this road. They're talking to him, but they don't even recognize who he is or what's going on. And so it wasn't till later when he opened their eyes and revealed himself to them that they began to understand who it was and that he had risen and that the resurrection was real and actually happening and taking place. And it transformed their lives. And so, to trust God in those times of uncertainty and confusion, and it helps having family to help us process that. And even though I might not have the answers for someone who's going through a time of confusion, I can point them to the one who does and encourage them to be patient and wait on him to show it in his time. For Susan and I, we could have a lot of examples of a situation like that as well, but one in particular was when we were trying to adopt children. Felt like God was calling us to adopt a child or two into our family out of foster care. And we were on that journey for a couple of years, expecting things to go a certain way. And in the end, it didn't work out. And we have wondered many times, and we still don't have what we feel like are necessarily all the answers, but we're trusting him when it didn't work out. Why did we go down that journey in the first place? What were you doing? And there will be things that we'll never know this side of heaven. I'm convinced of that. And the children that we did interact with and have some time with in our homes, we may not know what has become of them in these days since then, but we're trusting that God was doing a work in them as well as doing a work in us in the midst of it all. And so we have to trust him. And we had a lot of people around us to encourage us through those times of trying to understand. So what is it for you? Has there been some time in your life where you were struggling to understand or see God's hand at work? Let us know that you can relate. You don't have to give us all the details, but we'd love to hear from you and have the opportunity to encourage each other this coming week. I want to remind you that this Saturday we're having Feeding the 5,000 right here at the church, and it's not too late for you to volunteer to be a part of that. You can go to the church website and find a place there where you can volunteer to help out this coming Saturday, and then just help us spread the word to people who may need help in our community, that we're going to be available here for them to provide them some food and some things to help them enjoy their Thanksgiving celebration this year. So it's good to see you all again. We'll look forward to next week when we have the opportunity to reflect on this coming week's message from Pastor Chris, and we'll do it all again. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you.